Douglas Allen Bickford. It is the 15th of August 2022, about 8:30 a.m. here, Pacific Standard Time. Broadcasting live out of my 105-year-old house here in the Mills Edition in Klamath Falls, Oregon, which is my hometown. I am a self-taught psychiatrist, therapist, counselor, because the reason I'm self-taught is because I have thousands of hours studying how the mind works, okay, underneath my belt. And I don't have the formal college degree with all the, the other stuff you have to throw in there to get the, get the certificate, the college education. I have all the knowledge. I went straight to psychiatry and studied the science of the mind for pushing 2 years, okay. Studying how the brain works, the science of the mind, okay. So I know what I'm talking about. It makes me qualified to help you all out there that have been emotionally, sexually, or physically abused. Billions of people have been emotionally, sexually, or physically abused. That's one of the terrible statistics, okay? And I'm a victim of all three of those. And there's a lot of you out there too, to the tune of billions of people just like me. We have been trained and taught that it is weakness to ask for help. So, and that's a complete fabrication. It is human to ask for help. We all are human. We all are not powerful. All of us need help at some point in our life. So, I am offering you my services. 1 hour therapy a week, 4 times a month. 4 hours out of your life will change your life. You can call me at 458-232-5238 to schedule your first therapy session. Okay, but you're going to have to get very honest with yourself, first of all. Then you're going to have to get very honest with me, your therapist, and trust me, and don't lie to me what's going on with you. And then I can get through and help you. And the only thing you're going to have to pay for is this book right here, called The Portable Therapist. We're going to be going through this book together, and you're going to have to listen to what I say and do what I tell you to do in order to fix your unhealthy minds. To be positive about who, where, and what you are, and to fix your unhealthy mind, you have to attain a thing called self-esteem. What self-esteem is how you feel about yourself inside. It's also known as self-confidence, self-love, self-worth. What self-esteem means, most people don't even know what the two words mean because nobody's teaching it, except for Douglas Allen Bickford here in Klamath Falls, Oregon. Okay. What it is we've all been in romantic relationships. When you first meet these people, man, you're on cloud 9, they're on cloud 9, you're back bragging to all your family, friends. Everything's hunky and dory. I mean, it's like, whoa, we're soulmates, we're going to be together forever. This is what you're telling each other. Or you think it feels really good. You're going to die together. They can do nothing wrong, and you can do nothing wrong in their eyes. So what self-esteem is that good feeling towards yourself. Dr. Susanna McMahon, and now Douglas Allen Bickford, a trained psychiatrist, therapist, and counselor, is telling you that in order to attain a healthy mind, you have to attain and maintain a thing called self-esteem. Okay, self-love, self-confidence, self-worth, and comes out of this book right here. Her doctorate is in psychology, makes her a psychiatrist. She also has a master's in philosophy, She's 73, lives in Madrid, Texas with her husband. She's a psychiatrist, therapist, a counselor, many years. She wrote this book in the 90s. It's published in 1992. Every lesson in it, every chapter in it, every question in it talks about how we've been taught and trained not to have a healthy mind and not to have self-esteem, self-love, self-confidence, self-worth. So she's had thousands of clients that would pay her big bucks that I'm offering you for free to fix their unhealthy minds. She knew they didn't have self-esteem because nobody was teaching it. She also knew you had excuse me, couldn't attain a healthy mind until you attain and maintain self-esteem. So she had to come up with a way, a concept to give her clients give themselves self-esteem. Nobody can give you self-esteem except for you. And what that concept is called mirror therapy. You look at yourself in the mirror daily for the rest of your life and say 4 things instead of criticizing yourself. I love you. I love my inner child. I'm worthy to be loved. I'm worthy to love. I am full of goodness. Those 4 things to yourself in the mirror daily will instantaneously give you self-esteem. But in order to maintain that self-esteem, you have to practice it. It's like lifting weights. Okay? If you start lifting weights and you stop, you have to start over from scratch. Self-esteem is the exact same thing for the brain. But trust me, it's a lot easier than lifting weights. Okay? I've done it. And I've also learned how to attain and maintain self-esteem because of mirror therapy. And that's why I'm very confidently spreading this message to you out there on Facebook. I'm on Facebook and YouTube for absolutely one reason. That's to help you attain and maintain self-esteem and get healthy-minded. And I can be your therapist, I can be your counselor, I can be your psychiatrist. I've learned how to heal myself. I can also learn how to teach you how to heal yourself. Okay. Because I'm a victim of emotional, sexual, and physical abuse. Anyway, so just plan on saying 4 things to yourself in the mirror every day for the rest of your life. I love Douglas Allen Bickford. I love my inner child. I'm worthy to be loved, worthy to love. I'm full of goodness. Less than 10 seconds, folks, will change you from the inside out. I guarantee it. And so does she. Okay. The reason that mirror therapy is so powerful and why she came up with it. It's a psychological event that happens in our brain. We cannot lie to ourselves in the mirror. So that's why you can very easily get in front of the mirror and criticize yourself, whether you think it or say it, because that's how you feel about yourself. Because nobody's ever taught you how to get self-esteem, how to feel good about yourself. You're always told bad things about yourself. Just one of them is religions telling us that we were born bad, okay? So your whole life you feel like you're a bad person, but you're not. You're full of goodness. Anyway, so the reason mirror therapy is so powerful, like I said, is because you can't lie to yourself in the mirror. You can't say good things to yourself in the mirror because you don't feel that way about yourself, because you cannot lie to yourself in the mirror. So the very first time that you say those 4 things to yourself in the mirror, you'll have to force yourself to do it. It's going to feel very strange and awkward because nobody's ever told you this before. And it's so bad you want to turn me off and call me crazy because I tell you this, okay? But it's all true, folks. So it's going to feel very strange and awkward. Do it beyond that feeling, and then you will attain and maintain self-esteem. If you do it, and if you keep saying it the rest of your life, literally. It is that simple, folks. Self-esteem is the absolute most important thing you can have as a human being. There's 2 reasons. The first reason is we can't be content without it. What content means is we feel good about how, where, and what you are. It's also known as internal peace. There are 12 things that people are using to try to be content. They are Self-mutilization, self-harm, right? Scratching or cutting yourself. All the social media, including Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, even where I'm broadcasting here, which is live on Facebook. Drugs, alcohol, sex, gambling, food, television, religion, another person, material possessions, or money. Those 12 things are known as externals. They're outside of yourself. They will make you feel good temporarily. Like if you're doing self-mutilization where you're scratching yourself, that good feeling is always temporary. So you have to scratch yourself more to get the same good feeling. Or like the drug and alcohol, right? You get that warm, fuzzy feeling, and it feels good because from the alcohol, right? And then the drug high, right? The drug high always goes away. Okay, so you have to smoke more pot or do more drugs to get the same good feeling. And then the other 9 things are exactly the same thing. It's always a temporary fix. The absolute only thing that's going to make you permanently content and give you self-esteem is by saying 4 things to yourself in the mirror and give you internal peace. Like I just told you, right? The next reason that self-esteem is the absolute most important thing you can have as a human being, we can't love without it. We can't be loved without it. So what happens is 2 people that don't have self-esteem will attract each other. And then after you move in and you marry them or you don't marry them, all the everyday drama starts happening. But even if you don't move in, you get tired of that person. They get tired of you, okay? And so the relationship becomes toxic. That's when the fights and the arguments start, cheating on each other, going to bars, picking up strange people to have sex with, the name calling, telling all your family and friends how terrible these people are to you, getting in the car, going down the road, can't be away from them, or trying to get away from them. Then you get back together and you try therapy and you apologize, and the same thing keeps happening, right? So because the relationship turned toxic, the 2 will divorce or separate, right? And then they'll go jump back in another relationship and exactly the same thing will happen because they got in another relationship without self-esteem, without self-love, self-confidence. The next thing that'll happen, and 2 that got together with no self-esteem, they'll stay in that toxic relationship forever, okay? And then all the emotional, sexual, and physical abuse that those 2 dished out to themselves, to each other, and to their children, just gets swept under the rug by everybody. And at that point, it becomes a dysfunctional family, and dysfunctional families create more dysfunctional families down the line, and then the cycle continues. And what swept under the rug means is all the bad that they've done to each other and their children, family members, just never gets talked about. Nobody ever talks about it again. Okay, birthdays and all that. So anyway, the next thing that'll happen is the reason that they won't. I gotta go back here. The reason that they won't leave that relationship is because they're being codependent on each other. They can't be alone. They don't want to be a failure. They don't want to be an embarrassment to all their family and friends. Or they couldn't make it, right? They're church members. They're afraid to leave. They have nowhere to go. So they'll stay in it forever. Okay. You all know what I'm talking about. Grandma and grandpa, great-grandma and grandpa, mom and dad, right? I've always been a relationship jumper, I couldn't stand all the fights and arguments, so I would go jump back in another one after one would leave. In fact, my 3rd wife, I jumped in I divorced her on the day I divorced her, signed the papers. That same day, I got in another relationship with a woman I met on YouTube. Okay, that was my third wife, but I've done it for 4 marriages. Okay, that's why you've done the same thing, folks, because you got in them without self-esteem, and you're a relationship jumper too. That's why you've been married more than once. That's why you've had many failed relationships, just like me. Okay. The very last thing that'll happen is the two that got together and have had many failed relationships with no self-esteem will just exit out of the romantic scene and go, wow, they're like my age, right, which is 66. They'll exit out of the romantic scene and just be alone the rest of their lives, okay, because they can't find anybody to love them. They can't find anybody to love, so they'll just say screw it. And then they'll use the 12 things to try to be happy, right? And you can't be content, you can't have internal peace without self-esteem, so they'll be just as miserable alone as they were miserable in the relationship. So there's a cure, there's a fix. Douglas Allen Bickford has got it here, okay, for you. You just have to do it. Say 4 things to yourself in the mirror daily without fail. All parties involved. Then all parties involved get this book and do the many other concepts in this book that will change your life and fix your unhealthy mind and give you self-esteem, self-worth, self-confidence on steroids. Then you will be able to get in a healthy relationship. You will be able to get out of a toxic relationship. You'll be able to get out of a dysfunctional family if you attain and maintain self-esteem and do the many other concepts in this book. But you're going to have to get very honest with yourself. And if you call me, you're going to have to, and want me to help you, you're going to have to get very honest with yourself and with me. And you can trust me. I know what I'm talking about. And then you will be able to get in a healthy relationship. Okay? So, I am going through this book one lesson at a time. Now you can continue to watch me and do what I'm telling you to do in these videos. And because I'm going through the book one lesson at a time. Okay? And you can fix your unhealthy mind if you listen to me and you do what I'm telling you to do. Because this is exactly what we're going to do when you call me. Is go through this book one lesson at a time. But you don't even have to call me. You could do what I'm saying to do here, and you will fix your unhealthy minds. Okay? And you'll be able to get it in a healthy relationship. Serious. It worked on me. It can work on you too. Lesson number 10. What can I do about my future? We seem to be obsessed with the future. You all know what I'm talking about here. This is understandable when we realize that our doing model, this is what every chapter in this book talks, or lesson, talks about how we've been trained and taught not to have self-esteem. Here's one example of it. When we realize that our doing model is a goal-orientated one, and that in this model, nothing is ever enough. No matter what is happening in the present, we have to concentrate on the future. And because, like the past, we cannot live in the future, this orientation takes us out of the present, out of what we control and what we manage. Now, what I have learned to do is, because of her, I fixed my unhealthy mind, is you say to yourself, I say it to myself all day long, I will not live in the past in guilt. I will not live in the future in anxiety. I'll live in the now. It's all I got. You can do the same thing. Just as guilt lives in the past, anxiety lives in the future. We have become future orientated, that when we become uncertain about the future, we tend to panic. If the future is shortened by disease or circumstance, we feel cheated and resentful. It seems to be easier to conceive of ourselves as what we will become than what we are. It would be unrealistic for most of us to have no thought for the future. Part of our definition of maturity is taking care of ourselves both now and later. Therefore, some planning in the here and now needs to be future-orientated. We can do things now for tomorrow, hoping that we will have tomorrow and that what we are planning will work later on. The first realization, however, needs to be that our concept of the future is only a concept and not a guarantee. Nothing is certain and no future is certain. No future time is certain. It is unrealistic to think that you can control what will happen to you. The paradox here is that the more emphasis we have on the present, the more we focus on being the best we can be right now, the more the future seems to take care of itself. Once we learn that we cannot control the future, once we give up the illusion of our control, fate seems to work in our favor. And if it does not, if calamity occurs, we are better able to accept and deal with it because we are survivors. The future is never as bleak, as fearful as the fear of the future. Relax. We do not ask this question when we are enjoying the present and feeling secure in ourselves. There is no need for anxiety in the moment. We do not have to panic when we can do something. In the present, we can breathe to relax. We can consider our options. We can acknowledge our feelings. We can accept ourselves. We can choose. We can experience. We can be heroes. We can do none of these things in the future. The best we can do in the future is to waste the present dreaming about being a hero. Remember, time is not replaceable. Live the moment well. Try to stay in the here and now. And there will be no need for anxiety or regret. Woo! There's another very powerful lesson for you folks. Say 4 things to yourself in the mirror daily, folks. I can be your mentor, 458. I can be your psychiatrist, therapist, and counselor. I used to say that. I am qualified to help you. 458-232-5238. Say those 4 things to yourself in the mirror. Get this book, because we will be going through this book when you call me. Get this book anyway, whether you call me or not, and start going through it with me here on YouTube and Facebook. You all have a great Sunday out there. I will be talking to you tomorrow. It is my life's mission to help you be positive about who, what, and where you are, okay? And get internal peace, and be able to get in a healthy relationship, and get out of a toxic relationship, and quit using the 12 things to try to make yourself feel good, okay? Because once you have internal peace, self-esteem, self-love, self-confidence, self-worth, you won't watch television anymore.